here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video. Sending some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need it out there today. If you're going through something, always remember that things will and can get better for you. What you're going through is temporary. Today we have 10 champions. Actually, scratch that. 12 champions. I just couldn't decide who my faves were, guys, who can solo dungeons all on their own.
I believe in you, and I believe in your ability to make the right choices.
Now, odds are you've probably heard of a few of these champions, but it's a variety of, or encompasses a variety of different bosses as well. And who knows, maybe you'll go ahead and take a look at a champion that you had never considered that you have on your account. However, I should mention there's a lot of champions that can solo even beyond this list. So if I snubbed your favorite solo beast inside the game, let me know just off the top of my head. So why is soloing even important? Why is this a thing? Why is this crucial? Well, usually it involves regeneration in immortal gear. I'm just going to say that out the gate. I'm sure we'll mention it again in the video. But most importantly, it allows you to be a lot more efficient with your energy and your overall resources on your account. When you're able to solo content or even duo content in the game using like a God Seeker strategy, it allows you to farm food at the same time, thus again being so much more efficient with your energy and getting more bang for your buck there. So that's why soloing is something that every Raid Shadow Legends player should have in the back of their mind as something that they're always going to be on the lookout for to be more optimal with your resources inside the game, namely your energy. I've seen, these are honorable mentions, I've seen Theodore kind of duo content, even Tomb Lord right next door, I've seen him solo content. There's a lot of champions again in the game who are capable or have the ability to solo some specific content in the game. Let's start out with a shout out to my last video or 2 videos ago, I forget, but it's actually Chronicler Adolin. That's right, Chronicler Adolin, the trash-free legendary champion who I gave so much grief to, can actually solo Phantom Shogun Grove at stage 25. Now, this is very gear intensive, unfortunately, but Boozer has an amazing video breaking down the strategy and why it's viable on his channel. I also made a channel with an easier method pairing Chronicler Adolin with a Rector Draft to kind of do a better job at survivability and really lowering the gear threshold for this strategy. But yeah, she can open with the Writ of Sleep, right, and then never use it again, and then just vis-a-vis War Master, as long as she's 5 awakened, she can solo in regen and immortal or regen and retaliation against the Phantom Shogun, right? So props to you, Chronicler Adolin, props to you. All right, next on the list, guys, is gonna be an uncommon. That's right, an uncommon champion. It feels like poor uncommons, with some exceptions. Armiger's making a little bit of a comeback to the game. I'm not sure if you guys have seen, but there's some viable strategy there now with the nerfs to the dungeons. But Shieldguard. Shieldguard is a farmable uncommon who can actually solo minnow. He can solo your scroll farms. That way you can pair him with champions that you want to build for masteries. And he actually does it pretty dang fast, right? Even though he's an uncommon champion, and it all has to do with his A2 ability. It's attacks all enemies, fills his champion's turn meter by 20% on each critical hit. Okay, so we get the turn meter fill that makes the waves super, super easy. And then it's a 2-turn cooldown as well. It's key that it's a 2-turn cooldown, so you book them out and you have a pretty dang strong AoE on a 2-turn with turn meter fill with some damage on top of that. He has decreased speed on his A1 and he's defense based. He doesn't have a boatload of defense, but he's an uncommon. What do you want from the guy, right? So he can solo Minotaur's Labyrinth, and who knows, maybe someday, Plarium, they'll add new levels to that damn dungeon. It's a nasty, nasty thing that they're doing with that dungeon, never updating it. I'll tell you what, guys. All right, and we all know why too, right? They want people to still spend the gems on the masteries, right?
Maybe I don't need your money.
No problem.
Wait, I said maybe.
Next up, guys, on the list is gonna be good old Arix. So as you can see on the screen right now, Arix, especially in a Slayer set, right? So it's a difficult build to pull off. But if you can pull off the Slayer with the Arix, she can solo Spider Hard 10. Arix is a monster. She's actually a free login champion. It just takes like 600 or 700 days, so you'll get there eventually. Everybody will get your hands on a free smoke monster here in Arix. I really love her. She's an HP base who hits very hard. She's very fun on blender teams. She's fun in slow stone skin builds in the arena. I have a whole video on that too, because she has the counterattack on herself, and then you build her super slow in stone skin. She just keeps counterattacking with a hard Deathly Arts A1 ability. But yeah, in a Slayer, she can solo the highest difficulty level of Spider Hard 10. A really, really fun champion in a number of different ways, but one of her multiple claims to fame is indeed that solo. Hey, one of my favorite solo combos in the game, or actually it's not even a combo if it's one champion, Ash, is Artak. But in a way it is a combo because I especially think he's incredibly efficient at soloing Ice Golem Hard 10 with the emergency heal blessing, right? So essentially we're just gonna get those heals off the shields. You throw a blood shield or something on his ring and you're gonna get that heal every time. But even without the emergency heal, he is capable with the right gear, of course, to solo with his burn and his activation, and the fact that he's easy to keep alive and scale that HP based champion. He can solo Ice Golem Hard 10. Even if he doesn't solo it for you, he can get, as long as you can get him there, usually he can be the last man alive on your squad and take down that Ice Golem Hard or whatever level that you're facing. Obviously affinity does matter a bit, so Void or Spirit is preferable here, but Artak is an absolute monster. He can solo with the best of them inside this game. Really love Artak. He is my solo strategy for Ice Golem Hard 10 as well. It's basically him and Theodore, the Savant. I use both and a Seer to get them there to the third wave, and it's a very fast team. You're seeing it a little bit in the background right now, but I really, really love Artak. He is just amazing. One of my favorite champions added to the game. What about you guys? Next up, guys, is going to be, let's talk about Scarab King soloing, right? There's a few champions who are able to solo the highest difficulty of Scarab King, and Vergis is one of them. He has this awesome passive where he's basically placing a shield whenever he loses 10% of his max HP. He has continuous heals all over the place as well. He is able to self-sustain better than any epic arguably in the game. He's there with kind of like a Vogoth type where he's very difficult to kill. Thus, with War Master, he can take down all by himself Scarab King on the highest difficulties of Doom Tower. But there's more Scarab King champions as well. This is why I decided to extend the list to 12, because it's hard to pick a favorite. Skull Lord Vargal can also get the job done here. He is super tanky, one of the tankiest champions out there, 27k HP. He's got 107 speed, which is nice for his regen and immortal set. He's got a 1300 on the defense. He's got decreased attack. He's got strengthen, right? And he's got turn meter fill as well on the A1. He's very easy to keep alive, but most importantly, when attacked, destroys the attacker's max HP by 5%. Destroys the max HP of the Scarab King by 0.5%. Basically, that will take care of the entire enemy max HP, necessity on the Scarab King, and take him down without the destroy gear, right? So that's Skull Lord Vargal. Next up on the list is going to be personally one of my absolute faves inside the entire game. She can solo Bommel. It's a slow solo, but it's a solo. Let's be real, who cares how long it takes as long as she can get the job done. Lady Annabelle can solo the highest difficulty of Bommel, arguably the most challenging Doom Tower boss, made easy. And it all has to do with the Red Lady. Heals this champion by 50% of their max HP whenever an ally or an enemy dies. Those little bombs summoned by Bommel count as enemies, so every time they explode, she gets the immediate 50% heal with no cooldown. She actually has a really nice kit outside of that as well, with an AoE decreased speed and AoE leech as well. She's got a swap and revive on death mechanic, as well as an increased speed on all allies. I really love Lady Annabelle, but yes, one of her many claims to fame is the ability to solo content such as the Bommel the Dreadhorn. So speaking of soloing Bommel, we got to give love to Conellia. There's a big shout out to YST, who really innovated this strategy, utilizing Conellia to solo content content in the game. It really has to do with this revitalizing rest. First of all, Conellia, she's a really cool, unique, and fun champion out there. She can even be utilized in the arena. She's very fast in kind of a Kymar-like role with an AoE sleep ability, but she can also, vis-a-vis the revitalizing rest, put sleep on herself and then heal herself by 50% of her max HP on a 2-turn cooldown and get their turn meter filled by 50% whenever that sleep debuff is removed or expires. So again, it's a slow run, but it's very similar to Lady Annabelle. It's that 50% heal on a 2-turn cooldown mechanic that can help mitigate the onslaught of all those bombs exploding. Very, very good option. Although I will note that is a very, very difficult to solo Bommel 90, the hardest floor, utilizing Conellia. It's extremely gear intensive, but she can handle lower floors a lot easier. You know, now that I mention it, he's not officially on the list, guys, but there's another champion who can also solo. It's a little challenging, but another option for you guys is Burangiri. Where the heck is he? There you go. Another option in terms of somebody who heals by 50% whenever an ally or enemy dies. He can also pull it off. So there's 3 champions, Annabelle, Conellia, and Burangiri for you guys. A little bonus in Burangiri, but he absolutely should have been included. Let's talk about another solo for Scarab King option, and that is, we didn't have to leave Shadowkin. It's Frogman. Toragi the Frog can get it done as well, similar to the next champion that we're going to talk about here in the video, guys. Toragi places, when attacked, has a 50% chance of placing a poison debuff on the attacker for 2 turns, and it occurs once per hit. So we just need to build him again with a lot of survivability, a regen, and immortal set that is kind of the quintessential solo build, right, in this game, and a lot of HP as much as we can stand. And then we're placing those poisons. We don't need to destroy his max HP when we have all those poisons out there, and he has a shield on his A3 as well. So a great option for you guys, as you can see on the screen right now. Let's talk about his big brother, though, the big daddy. It is Urhost, the Soul Cage. Urhost, why are you so sad, man? He looks so sad, man. He looks sad.
I have a problem with that.
And I say that every time I talk about him. I like Urhost, the Soul Cage, man. I don't know why, but I feel like he's my spirit brother. I resonate with Urhost, the Soul Cage for whatever reason. Don't we kind of look alike? What do you guys think?
Not even close, bud.
Anyway, my man has basically the bigger version of what Toragi has. When attacked, now has a 75% chance of placing a poison debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. A very, very good ability here. Also has a lot of synergy with provokes, and he has destroy a boss's max HP as well, which is obviously pivotal for the Scarab King. But he can solo multiple content inside the game. Very, very good in Doom Tower. He's just one of the best champions out there. But overall, he has an AoE decreased speed. He has a chance of stunning as well as poisoning, depending on the number of debuffs on the poison. Depending on the number of poison debuffs on the enemy here. So he's a really nice A2. He's also a companion champion to Ryan the Conjurer. You can see some of his spotlights on the screen right now. I love Urhost, the Soul Cage, man. He's a really, really cool champion. What would a solo video be without talking about the OG, the free, vis-a-vis the bizarre champion fragments champion in the game? Is Drexthar Blood Twin. Drexthar Blood Twin is the OG of solo content. He's maybe not quite as good as some of the new class of solos, so to speak, but he's definitely got a lot of utility. He has the burn on the passive on the Fiery Blood, has a 55 but make it a 75 when booked percent chance of placing HP burn on the target for 2 turns. I mean, he used to solo, he still can solo some stages of Spider. You can use him in Ice Golem. You can use him against a variety of Doom Tower bosses that are susceptible to HP burn as well. So a very, very good option for you guys, and everybody can get their hands on him. So really, really nice champion. Still has it, which is really nice to see a guy who's been around since day one really not experience that true power creep that a lot of other legendary heroes have inside the game. Last, but certainly not least, is probably the most underrated solo champion inside the entire game, and is Crypt King Graal. I think I should make a video all about Crypt King Graal. You're seeing in the background all the footage from all my videos that I included in this video, except for this one is from Tyraku. He has a really good video out on him. This guy can really probably solo the most content in the game. People just don't give him love for it, you know? At least he's right up there. He has attacks 1 enemy on his A1, has a 100% chance to place a decreased attack if they're under an HP burn or a freeze. He's bringing an HP burn on a 3-turn cooldown for 2 turns, and then he attacks all enemy, places a freeze debuff for 1 turn on an A3 ability, and a burn for 3 turns if the target is already under an HP burn that cannot be resisted, right? So my man's just like a constant burn. Constantly burning the enemy team. He's fast. You can build him nice and tanky. He has HP in all battles by 33%, which is really helpful. You put him in again in that mortal gear, in that regeneration gear, and Crypt King can solo Spider. He can solo Ice Golem, excuse me, and he can solo Dragon as well. So all 3 dungeons, man. That's a lot of utility out of 1 champion. But guys, the list really doesn't have to end there, right? I'm thinking of you more as we go through.
Go on, Freddy. Don't think so much.
Let me give another bonus. It's really like 15 in disguise here, but I already have the thumbnail made. Battle Khazar can solo content, right? Battle Khazar can solo some stages of Ice Golem and certainly some stages of Dragon. Rapid fire here. We have Instaltus Dragonbane, right? Staltus can come in there and solo Dragon. Whenever an enemy attempts to place a poison debuff on this champion, reflects it back onto the attacker, right? We mentioned Theodore earlier. There's a lot of good options out there. Heck, I've even seen people solo content with Sulfurion, and there's also a few mythicals out there who can solo content. So guys, that is my list of my faves. You let me know in the comments below, who am I forgetting that you know can solo content or that you use solo content on your account. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video here. Let me know in the comments below which solo beast that I forgot and which one that you use on this list and who's your favorite as well. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.